Residents in the townships have aired their frustration over poor service delivery in the city of Tshwane, attributing it to political instability. This week, the Pretoria News solicited the views of residents about recent political developments in the municipality after former Mayor Brandon Williams resigned in a huff on February 13. Tshepo Mahlangu, chairperson of the Lotus, Atteridgeville, Saulsville Civic Association, helps us to unpack this further. Tshepo, very good afternoon. Great to speak to you. Obviously, service delivery is on the agenda. What are some of the issues that you and other residents have been facing in the city of Tshwane?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to viewers at home, and thanks for having me on your show. It's a great pleasure for viewers at home to actually their side being heard today. We are in a state of shambles in our capital city. You know, the political parties have actually turned our capital city into a mockery. They somehow believe that they are law unto themselves, and what they do, it needs to be stopped. You know that the service delivery is not on top of the agenda. We are basically and technically excluded from their plans. I've been warning all along through radio and various radio and TV stations that this coalition cancer is very toxic. It's just a mere marriage of convenience, benefiting politicians and not the voters. But the better part out of this, they are all misbehaving during electioneering season. So we have been closely monitoring the developments in the city of Tshwane as the organization which is non-political, which represents the affiliates of this organization from all regions of Tshwane. So the decision that we are going to take is we are going to dethrone all these municipal monarchs. There are certain political parties who always believe that they're entitled to our rates and taxes, even they're entitled to governing the city because they believe that they are law unto themselves. So we have taken a stand decision as residents of Tshwane to say this is enough. We need to put a stop on this because our city, our brand Tshwane, has been severely damaged by these political parties. It has turned into a circus and a jumping castle. All this bickering, smear campaigns, you know, there's this new, there's this new obsession about the ex-mayor, Dr. Makwarela. When you switch on television, Dr. Makwarela this, Dr. Makwarela this. We want service delivery. We are tired of hearing about Dr. Makwarela because we are waiting for the courts. In South Africa, everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So those smear campaigns by DL coalition is not working for us. They are not holy cows as well.
But I suppose it's a good time to talk about coalition politics and the impact that it's had on the administration of many municipalities, Tshwane in particular. What is your take on the political situation and the impact that it has on service delivery, particularly when you take into account that it is coalition politics?
Coalition politics are very toxic. They are very much unstable. They are not going to work in South Africa. Unlike in other countries. I mean, in South Africa, how many political parties we have? Many scripts, many confusion to the constituents. Gone are those days when you say, I voted for this party, we've got more numbers. They need each other. I mean, the DA-led coalition now, it has failed dismally because we've been working with them since 2020. They've failed dismally to produce results or deliver services. I'll tell you why. They thought they've got many numbers, which are our votes, which are now haunting us. There is no big brother in this current setup. They all need each other. Even one seat, they need that seat. So one of those days when you are proud and say, yeah, my party, I've got history with this, because politicians are more obsessed with the credentials of their party, their story, what we did in 2015, 2018. It's none of our business. We need service delivery. The country is in a state of decay. Our capital city is filthy. People are jobless. That is, you know how Pretoria used to be. Atteridgeville, for example, where I come from, it used to be the cleanest township, but now it's the most filthiest. I even heard that...
So where does that put you as residents, sir? I mean, what is... There's got to be a formula, I'd like to imagine, that you've come up with to say, how do we fix this? Because when you leave it in the hands of the politicians, certainly over the last few months in Tshwane, it's not working. This coalition government is not working. So are you, as residents, taking the matter into your own hands? And if so, what is your strategy? How do you feel you can steer the ship?
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very good question. We are now taking the driver's seat. We say power to the people. Our slogan as LASCA is municipality for the people, by the people. We are the ratepayers. We should dictate on how our rates are going to be spent on water, on electricity. I mean, there's a lot of maladministration. We had something called billing intervention together with the ex-MMC of Finance. They failed dismally to take our advices because we have all the solutions. We do have, trust me, we can run that city. So in another way, I can just simply tell you that Pretoria is a country. You know that? It's a country within a country. We've got our own language. Language called Diamond.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you say so.
So at some point, people were approaching me and said, Tshepo, why don't you take a driver's seat? Because you've got all the solutions. You've done it all. Indigent programs, affordability assessment, debt rehabilitation progress.
And what was your response to that question?
The thing is, I was trying to assist the city to say, look, this is how things should be done, not the way you are doing it. I mean, we are flooded with what you call deployees who are clueless. They know nothing. They've just been deployed because somebody's father was a leader in some era and all that. But they don't understand governance. They are all obsessed about their credentials, what they did in the struggle and all that. And it's like just listening to people who are reading a script. The smaller parties, when you talk to them, they all mention what they did with the other party. I don't want to mention parties with their names unless you allow me to. When you listen to all the smaller parties, they all talk about the same thing which was said by the other party, which was bigger then. And thanks to that party, because the state of situation that we are in now with coalition is because of their blunders.
But those parties are in office because you voted them into office, are they not?
Yeah, they lied to us. They fed us with lies. They never knew what they were doing. Now we are going to take the drivers. Hence, I'm saying they are misbehaving at the time when we are going to dethrone them. The very same numbers they are using whenever they play circus in our chambers. We are going to take them and vote. We are now busy identifying a political home where people can go and vote because we are busy with what we call the real voter education, because there are so many South Africans who are saying, no, we are no longer going to vote anymore because of...
So are you saying that LASCA is going to form a political party or is going to get into bed with a specific political party?
We will rally behind the people's servant. We are busy identifying the people's servant. Then we are going to definitely find that people's servant around June, July this year. We are working. It's a work in progress. Once we identify that, because we are talking amongst these political parties, but those other bigger parties, they must just forget, in 2024, they're not going to get those votes anymore because most people were very frustrated and they were very furious when they voted them. So we are conscientizing people to say, let's mobilize, let's unite all the townships in Tshwane, all the suburbs, let's meet.
I'm going to interject there, Tshepo, because I quite like what you're talking about, which is mobilisation and advocacy.
Yes.
And for the longest time, there's been voter apathy. Young people in particular don't come to the polls because they are frustrated, because they think my vote doesn't count. Let me just sit back and watch what's happening, because we all know how it's going to play out. So let's talk about how you, as the Lotus, Atteridgeville, Saulsville Civic Association, are engaging with the various communities in Tshwane, and how you are convincing, or how you feel you will convince them to rally behind this party that you're seeking to identify.
LASCA is the fastest growing non-political organization in Tshwane. When I say we've done it all, we've been there with the municipality doing the community outreach programs, which they dismally fail to produce desirable results in the past. I've got fact sheets where I have the resolutions from the city, from the job that we did. I mean, in 2020, we engaged with the City of Tshwane during COVID. There were 106 households which were disconnected for 20 years. They didn't have cables, they didn't have water. In that 106, we managed to engage with the city to say, how do you expect to collect revenue if these households are actually disconnected? And they did that. Mind you, in 20 years, there were some civics, there were some political parties, they did nothing for the community. So we are inviting every household in the townships and suburbs to say, come to Laska, let's have a conversation. We'll provide you with a direction and with a guidance on who's this person. I mean, for argument's sake, somebody said to me the previous week, Tshepo, but you are the candidate that we can vote for. You have numbers. You are fast growing. Many smaller political parties doesn't have the numbers that we have.
How big are your numbers?
Oh, can I disclose that? We are close to 7,000 now. 7,000. And we are new and non-political organization. We are doing things unpolitically so. Because political parties now, actually politics are overrated in South Africa. Because of this coalition. There's no longer this thing of, no, I'm belonging to this bigger party or smaller party. They all need each other and they're all irrelevant because they're all splinters. Some are proxies to other parties. And what is hurting? It's when you hear the bigger party labeling all the black. Now, we've actually discovered that there is a racism element in this whole thing. The ex-mayor, Makwarela, was labeled a puppet mayor. It's disgusting to say that on media. And you can't prosecute somebody in media or with public opinion. The second one, there's this Justice Stefanietso from Cope. I'm not vouching for anybody here. I'm just telling the truth. He was labeled the puppet mayor. We can't stand and watch while our masses are ridiculed under our name, whilst those parties gain votes because of people who were frustrated, who were actually despondent to say, even youth, to say, why should we vote if we don't get services?
I'm afraid we've run short of time. Would have liked to have carried on the conversation, but appreciate you coming onto the show today. Tshepo Mahlangu, chairperson, Lotus, Atteridgeville, Saulsville Civic Association, speaking to us about service delivery in the city of Tshwane.